Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the unscripted sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, following the story of cult sets in the Awakened Order 66, which wiped out the Jedi. However, as this preview is coming out a few days after release, we also have a benefit of knowing that currently there is a lot of problems with performance, especially on PC, but also on consoles as well. So all of that and more we will be diving into over the course of this review. A few things to note here at the beginning though. First up, we have spoilers, not that I will be covering them, but rather I will be going over the story setup for the game, talking a little bit about that. And while I won't be going into great detail, there might be still some contextual things in the footage as well, so do bear that stuff in mind. In addition to that, I review games after 100 all the time, to set me apart from other reviews on the platform, and while that does include the achievements, it also includes a lot more than that. So in the case of the achievements for this one, they were initially bugged on the Steam release because this game used the EA AP as a sort of DRM, and for whatever reason the connection between the EA apps and Steam was not working, so the achievements were locking on the EA apps. But not Steam thought that, unlike the game's other problems, was fixed very quickly. So profile is linked down below alongside a video that will cover everything that I go over in these reviews. Feel free to check all that out if you want more information. So Jedi Survivor, as its core aims to be a third-person action adventure that sees us playing, of course, as a Jedi cultist using all sorts of force powers alongside lightsaber combat to fight the Imperials to the best of our ability. And much like the Star Wars franchise at large, this goes having two big cinematic moments, perfect for showcasing what a Jedi would be capable of. And for the most part, I think Jedi Survivor improves upon and expands upon everything that the first game did, which was received quite well, and for the most part Survivor's success. Add that, however, all of those expansions and continuance from that game I bit overshadowed by this game technical state at launch, which is why we are gonna start the video talking about that. Currently there is a very large quantity of reposts about very poor performance in bugs across a variety of hardware, mostly on PC I would say, but it does seem some of those issues do extend into the console versions as well, and while I cannot report on all of that, I can tell you about my experience, which is naturally what I'm going to do. I was playing this on 4019 and 3900K, and while the experience seems to have been better than most people's, it was not without its issue. Most of what I ran into was constant minor problems, things like the game stuttering or freezing for a few seconds, frame rate dips seemingly at random, which actually occurred a few hours after the start of the game, which is where most people were talking about having a lot of issue. Was the prologue for me the majority of issue. Did not start until I got out of the prologue, and while currently annoying a lot of those minor issue. Were not really game breaking by any means, however the most serious issue that I ran into I think was the result of ray tracing actually, but on one of the planets you can travel to known as a Jedi. The game crashed constantly, in fact, so much, so that I would say probably at least to the 3 hours of my playtime here is literally just loading the game back up from the crashes that would occur there. However, because of this frequency, I was able to sort of isolate what the problem might be, given some of the reports from Respawn Entertainment themselves. The developer talking about how some of the graphical settings might be specifically the issue, and while that was not the specific case that I had that they were referring to, it got me thinking about messing around with some of the options. So I was like, well, the first and most obvious things is to turn ray tracing off, after which I had zero crashes. From that point out, and this was at 4K, however, that did not solve all of the other problems, which were again just a variety of minor bugs. Mostly visual is in nature, but personally the crashing on that one planet was by far and away the game's biggest problem. However, I do think that because of the nature of the game being 17 as a base price here in the US. Publishing continued to try push up the price of a full AAA game to then turn around and launch in a more or less